Fam, what is going on? It is Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys being here on the show. Today is Wednesday. Today is October 16th. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much for joining me on today's program. Today we're talking about the fact that I'm predicting a monster game from Jaylen Milroe. I feel that after watching his interview yesterday, the big playability that he continues to showcase in big-time games, I think he certainly comes with it. We're also going to talk about some potential X factors. I want to hear from you who you think is going to rise up in a game of this magnitude. And I say magnitude because, look, I have Tennessee right now as a top 10 team. I know they're kind of floated out of the top 10, and we've talked about kind of the limited offense, but I do feel that this is a big-time SEC game. I mean, you want to say, like, your back is against the wall? Like, yeah, it is. So it is time to turn up, and I want to talk about X factors a little bit, and I want to talk about Coach Jaylen Milroe in big games and how he has fared in big games. I posted some information this morning on our Facebook channel, and, I still feel that the fans are divided about Coach Jaylen Milroe, despite all the success that he has had since he took over, right? Success, of course, it's only equated with like W's, but if you like zoom out and you really just stand back and look what he's been able to do since he took over Alabama, like major wins, but it's going to take a lot to continue to win over this entire fan base. And I get it, it's first year, and look, the loss against Vanderbilt, it hurt. People don't get over hurt often, but what happens if you beat Tennessee, you gain a lot of momentum back. So we're going to spotlight Coach Jaylen Milroe in big games. Is this a big game? Hell yeah, it's a big game. This is a monster SEC game. Okay, monster SEC game. All right, we're going to talk about the freshman report. I'm going to ask you about some freshmen. So right now, kind of write it down. Which freshmen do you think that have stood out to you? Which freshmen are impressing you so far? Outside of just kind of the normal ones that we talk about. We're going to talk about Nate Oats, a little bit of basketball, as Nate Oats hit SEC Media Day yesterday. Talked about the football team a little bit. I love the soundbite, and I love the mentality of Coach Nate Oats, right? I really do. I think everything about Nate Oats and kind of how he represents himself and kind of he has that fire in his belly that we love. That's why I think when we look to when he was added here as the basketball coach, one thing that he definitely has is fire. I mean, look, if he wants to turn around a game, he'll just get a technical, right? There's like a technical count on Nate Oats. I think he's inspiring. He plays with the fire in his belly. He coaches with the fire in his belly, right? Like, he has it. And that's why I think as Alabama fans, we're still getting kind of used to how Coach Jaylen Milroe coaches. But, like, with Nate Oats, like, that guy brings it. All right, then we're going to talk about just the fact that the confidence level for me is growing every single day as I continue to look more at Alabama and Tennessee. It's not being fancy. I just feel that Alabama is a better football team than Tennessee in a variety of different reasons. We're going to talk more about that. I appreciate you guys being here from Ten Pit to William Bama Boy. Tavares, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Chad, what's going on? Bama Made MG, what's going on? Bama Boy, Bet James. Patriot Life, of course, up in here. Chris in New Jersey. Earl and everybody else inside the Undefeated. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here on Bama Football on YouTube. We start at the top, and let's talk about predicting a monster game from Jaylen Milroe. I think, it might be cliche, but I think big-time players rise up in big-time games. The first thing that Jaylen Milroe talked about yesterday was the fact that he's feeling very confident going into a game like this. And you might be like, wow, like it might be arrogant. But if you know Jaylen Milroe, he's not an arrogant person. But confidence comes from being prepared. When you are prepared and you understand the schematics of your own team, your own offense, when you're just prepared and a prepared individual, it doesn't matter whatever you're doing, you are more confident because of your preparation. And that's something that certainly starts for Jaylen Milroe, but along with the coaching staff. So I'm not surprised to hear him say that he feels confident going into this game against Tennessee. I don't think that was a gut punch at Tennessee at all. I think he's just confident in the players that he has around him, and he's confident in the abilities that he has within himself. When you look to Jaylen Milroe this season, and we'll get to this weather report in just a minute, brought to you by North Alabama Storm Chase. But Jaylen Milroe this season, look, did he have his best game last week? No, not at all. Like, that was his worst game out of all the games we played so far. Facts. Those are facts. Like, you can't deny that. That was the game that, you know, he threw 2 interceptions which were directly on him. But when you zoom out in life, you get a better understanding of what exactly is going on. I mean, there isn't another quarterback, in my opinion, throughout the entire season, and we could go to Quinn, we could go to Cam Ward, that is putting up numbers like this against quality competition, right? I mean, the first 2 games, kind of light work. I mean, I think against South Florida, he kind of had to do his thing because South Florida was punching like they were. And then against Wisconsin, you know, it was still light work in my opinion. But where we've continued to see growth is that game against Georgia and against Vanderbilt. I mean, look at those numbers. They speak for itself. So we've played 6 games. This is incredible that he has 1,800 yards all-purpose. He has 23 touchdowns and is responsible for 62 points this season for the Crimson Tide. So a lot of production by Jaylen Milroe. And I think in a game like this, while we want to see more production from the running backs, maybe we'll see it at some point. Maybe there's a game where you see Jaylen Milroe have 20 carries. I kind of think that's not going to be the case. Now, the offense will completely change next year under Ty Simpson, right? But right now, I mean, look, the way that Jaylen Milroe is able to limit the wear and tear because his off the field preparation, his body type, the ability to throw, make big throws downfield, the ability to run. Like, he is the most challenging player every single week to prepare for. And I think in a game like this, he could put the team on his back. And, you know, you want the player with the football that's the best on the team to have the ball, and that is Jaylen Milroe. Whether you like the offense or whether you don't, like, this is the guy that can take you as far as you want to go. So, you know, the design runs, the deep balls, that's part of Alabama's offensive identity. And when we start to look to Alabama's offensive identity, I think we're starting to see it. Look, it's Jaylen Milroe predicated, right? You have some running backs that certainly step up when they're called on, Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, but it's Jaylen Milroe, his offense, and what he's going to be able to do. So I think he has a really big game against Tennessee. I really do. I think you're looking at somewhere between, you know, 250 all-purpose yards, maybe 300 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns, all right? So, yeah, and Bama Mike, what's up, man? Best teams are quarterback-led. I mean, that's a really great point. You could even transition that into the NFL. Right? I appreciate it. And I checked the Heisman rankings this morning. Jaylen Milroe is a little bit lower. I think the running back from Boise State is now the favorite. Cam Ward's up there, of course, after his exceptional play. Dylan Gabriel's climbing after a really impressive win over Ohio State. But Jaylen Milroe is still in there. I think he's like 4th or 5th or something like that. So I'm just predicting a really big game from Jaylen Milroe. That's probably not surprising to hear, but I think that, you know, in a game like this on the road, you go with Jaylen Milroe. And the other thing before I get to my next cut is the fact that Jaylen Milroe, he's been able to perform really well on the road in big game situations. And I say again, this is a big game, right? Big SEC type game. Think about it. On the road at Auburn last year, Jordan Hare, dude comes with it in a 4th and 31 situation, right? You look at the way that he played last year, people are like, well, they've never gone on the road and faced a hostile environment. You remember the environment at Texas A&M last year? Look, Neyland Stadium is really loud. And people are going to be all over it 100%. But Texas A&M and Kyle Field, yo, that stadium's crazy. I was kind of wondering, though, about the helmet communication and how that works. I would like to see literally like the helmet. Maybe I'll look it up on YouTube, or if there's a video, someone send it to me. But like, what is it? Is that it goes into obviously like the ear pad, and it has to be like military grade because these guys are taking some hits. Patriot Life in with a $25 super chat on Happy Hump Day. He says that Vol suck, and even the super chat came in orange. I don't know if that was designed, but we appreciate it, Patriot Life. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Shamika saying you hear it in the stands. What do we hear, Shamika? The problem is he's playing for the Heisman at the expense of the team. I mean, look, they're going to ride Jaylen Milroe absolutely 1,000,000%. And I think, like, when you look to the running, like, I would think that if the offense is struggling, which they are, you would play more time of possession football, right? Like feed jam, you know, sprinkle it out to Justice Haynes. That's not the case. You spread out the team and you have these design runs, or you have some option reads for Jaylen Milroe. I mean, they're scoring 41 points a game. right? All right. So welcome to my Wednesday show. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I've played around with my graphics a little bit. So the highlight will be like what we're talking about, and we'll just kind of move down the list, right? I'm always like doing a little bit different things on the show. All right, so we talked about predicting a monster game for Jaylen Milroe. Now we're talking about X Factors versus Tennessee. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. If you could just hit the thumbs up, that goes a long way. Super Chat's greatly appreciated. Being a member of the Undefeated Club, that is also awesome. I appreciate it. Just $2.99 to support the product. So X Factors versus Tennessee. I think that I would like some feedback here. Will you please list two, besides, don't list Jaylen Milroe because we've already talked about him. Who do you think is the X factor in this game? It could be, maybe list two players. Be on offense, defense, both on offense, both on defense, right? Like, who is the X factor in this game? You know what, I was thinking about, like, X factors and how they could impact this type of a game. It doesn't always have to be a player that, like, you know, is known for making plays, like kind of a player that will play a integral part in this game. So, like, for example, like an X factor for me, in my opinion, is like thinking about maybe a like Elijah Pritchett, right? Like, how is he going to fare at the right tackle position? And do we have an issue at the right guard position? Because we're starting to see more play from Geno Vandermark and from Jaden Roberts. Like, those guys are starting to switch out. So I'm watching that right tackle position because you do see a lot of pressure coming from there. And while I think Alabama has a much better offense than Tennessee, Tennessee does have a pretty good defense. They're kind of living off their defense right now. All right, so Gelato has Kendrick Law and LT Overton. You know, I didn't even see last night the SEC availability in terms of which players are good to go. Did we get an update, or is the first update tonight? I don't know. Let me do a quick check. I didn't see if the availability was out. Give me 1 second. I'm going to look this up on a different screen. So anybody could look at this. All you do is type in SEC student availability, and I don't know if it has been updated yet. I think it might be updated tonight. So I don't see an update because I'm looking for an update on K-Law. Ray Henderson is saying X factor, how the coaches adapt in the second half. That's a good point. I mean, you look to the fact last year, I think this game was won in the second half by adjustments that the coaching staff was able to make, right? You look at last year's game between Alabama and Tennessee. Look, Tennessee was absolutely bringing it. And you had some big special teams plays as well. Will Reichard missed a couple field goals last year, which was uncharacteristic. But overall, the second half adjustments was what really spurred Alabama. So, yeah, maybe you could look at X Factor too. How does Kane Womack adjust his defense? Bama Mike's calling for Quay Russo, said that he should be 100% this week, was on a pitch count the week before. Big Bit is saying the defensive line and Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy Bernard's a great pick. I like that. I mean, outside of Ryan Williams, you know, you start to look at X factors. Jeremy Bernard is certainly, I would imagine, like, he's the number 2 wide receiver, right? Shamika's saying, hint, hint, Jam Miller. Yeah. Yeah, feed him, right? I would love to see it, like, Jam just get 16 carries. You know, because you look at the way that Tennessee uses Dylan Sampson, man, he's eating over there. Like, I think there's been one game where he hasn't had 20 touches. Different offense, whatever, but, you know, can you imagine Jam Miller running the football 20 times? Of course, you got to add Ryan Williams, right? Like, clearly, he's an X factor. Here's a look at Ryan Williams overall this season. 2 receptions, 139 up at the top. Last weekend was the only game that he hasn't caught a touchdown so far. And I think he should have had a touchdown, but it was an overthrown pass by Jaylen Milroe. Otherwise, he would have had 6, 100%. He has 4 receptions last week for 32 yards. Got to get him the football. And we've seen from him, I mean, his ability to make big plays in big-time games, right? So, I mean, and you look to how they used the wide receivers last week. I mean, they were able to get the football to, who looked good was Cole Adams. I mean, we're still waiting kind of the health report of Kobe Prentice, who's very talented as well. But, kind of seeing, other guys rise up when their name is called or when they have opportunities. Cole Adams looked pretty nice. He has that kind of like robotic arm on, but he looks good. I think when you look to the defensive side in terms of X factors, Tennessee doesn't throw the football that effective. Like their quarterback isn't the most accurate guy. So I look to maybe the defensive line, somebody who can stop the run or plays a pivotal part on the run game. The inside linebackers haven't had the best Pro Football Focus grades over the last 2 games. I like to see Jahad Campbell turn it up. Let me ask you, yes or no? Just this is a yes or no. Do you think that Alabama will see the shovel pass this week? At some point in the game, do you think that the shovel pass will be used by Tennessee? I mean, the NFL is a copycat league, and I think college football is trending that way as well. I'm going to say absolutely yes. What if Alabama uses the shovel pass? That would be nice, right? Kendrick Law comes back, use a shovel pass to him. Kendrick Law takes it, 80 yards? Ryan Wingo is saying yes. Amanda's saying yes. D. Harsh is saying yes. Chris from New Jersey is saying yes. Everybody's saying yes. Max is like, I would certainly use it. Yeah, I would do that. I would basically motion it. That might even be too obvious. It's like motion Kendrick Law. We'd always be like, shovel pass, shovel pass. Timothy's like, absolutely, until you can stop it. Yeah, 1,000,000%. All right, we're talking X Factors here. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. All right. Clearly, along with X Factors goes into the coaching. So I started thinking about this. I was like, all right. And I posted this on Facebook, and Alabama Crimson Tide on Facebook. And to my surprise, people started coming at Coach Jaylen Milroe again. I thought this would be more of like a positive post, but it got people fired up. So I started thinking about Coach Jaylen Milroe in big games. This is a big game, right? Like I think we see it as a rivalry game, and I think the majority of us, I'm in this group, I'm accustomed to just playing Tennessee and Alabama just absolutely doing whatever they want with them. Like it was almost boring playing Tennessee. Things have changed clearly. Josh Heupel is a good football coach. They've been recruiting at a good level, NIL, whatever. Now this game, I think ESPN Matchup Predictor has it like 52% for Alabama to win. The line is like, 2.5 for Alabama. It should be a close game. Rocky Top will be tough. They've been playing Rocky Top at the practice facility like nonstop. So then I was thinking, like on the pre-show, I was like, how does Coach Jaylen Milroe fare in big-time games? Well, so far, like the biggest game of the season was against Georgia, and he's able to come through with the W. So then I started going back to like, I didn't go back far. I didn't go to like Fresno State, but I went to 2022 and 2023 when he was at Washington. And this is what I pulled out. Let's see. So I pulled out these games. So I'll start at the top. 2022, he beat Michigan State, right? This is when he was at Washington. Number 11, Michigan State, 39-28. He beat Oregon 37-34. Beat number 20, Texas, 27-20. Beat Oregon. Beat USC. Beat Texas. Lost to Michigan. This year, he beat Georgia, right? And now, in the next big game, he's taking on Tennessee. So I posted this, and then people started then people got fired up about this stat, and they were like, it made them mad, actually. I thought this would make people happy. It did the opposite. People got mad at this graphic. And you can read the comments inside the comment box on our Facebook page. But they were like, look at this. They were like, there's lack of defense in every single one of these games. And then I started thinking, I was like, damn, they're right. These are all close games. I was like, I saw it as like winning, but the fans saw it. The majority of fans saw it as like there's no defense. But he is winning the games. And then I tried. I didn't necessarily try to spin it, but I tried to add another element to it. I was like, also in these games, look at the head coaches that he's beat head to head, right? So I was like, Mel Tucker, right? Part of the Nick Saban ecosystem. Beat Dan Lanning, not once, but beat him twice in 22 and 2023. Beat Steve Sarkisian, like out-dueling these type of minds. I mean, you saw this in the college football headlines. The NCAA is like, they're looking at changing rules based off tactics that Dan Lanning's playing chess up there with that 12 men on the field play. Like, they're literally redoing the NCAA rule book because of Dan Lanning, what he did when he sent on 12 men on the field. So he beat him twice, beat Steve Sarkisian twice, beat Mel Tucker, right? Lost to Jim Harbaugh. And then beats Kirby Smart. So, I don't know. I thought this graphic would make people happy. It seemed to make them mad. And then I added these factors too. I was like, well, look at Coach Kalen DeBoer's success and like what he's done, right? And this is like, now we're zooming out to the beginning of the season. Like the beginning of the year, right? Whenever he took over, was it February or whatever? January? He landed Ryan Williams, which is like turned out to be the biggest, addition in Alabama football history. He brought in Courtney Morgan, the GM, right, who can recruit at the highest level. Transfer portal, right, worked it, did an amazing job, capping off. You know what's crazy? Graham Nicholson's only kicked, what has he kicked, like 2 field goals so far? That is a weird stat to me. He was the Lou Groza Award last year, right? He's winning on the field despite kind of how people feel. I think it's just 5-1. People are going to point. People don't forget, right? Just that loss to Vanderbilt just hurt so bad. But damn, like look at all these other things when you like zoom out. 2-1 in SEC so far. Beat Georgia. Look, I don't know. I think that college football is becoming more like NFL with NIL and kind of the parity. And if you would be like, if your team was 5-1 in the NFL right now, you would be elated. Even teams that are like 2-3 in the NFL, you're used to being in a weekly street fight, so you have thicker skin, right? Like you have a shot to make the playoffs. Things change. College football, not really accustomed to that, specifically at Alabama. I would imagine at some point in this game, I don't know. I'm feeling really confident against Tennessee, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Tennessee has the lead or something like that. That's just kind of where we're at. The SEC's crazy. It's so good from top to bottom. Actually, it's good from top to like above Mississippi State. All right. I want to talk about some freshmen as well. There's a lot of freshmen that have been playing at Alabama. I'm going to showcase I think there's 5 of them that I'll spotlight that have been playing a lot. Can you add a freshman, maybe outside of Ryan Williams, that has impressed you so far? I couldn't find a photo of him in my pre-show. I'm still looking. But one of the freshmen that has really impressed me so far has been Jaylen Milroe. Oh, Bama Mike, that's funny, huh? Talking about Auburn getting relegated to the Big 12. Here's a look at the freshmen, a few of them that have played the most snaps so far. The third player listed, Jaylen Milroe, he's really impressed me. Now, I don't look, him and Xavier Brown, those guys are getting a lot of repetitions. In fact, Red Morgan has more in the secondary. And I think I hit on this a little bit yesterday. Jaylen Milroe he might not be absolutely 100% ready to like be the corner over. Like if Damani was to really have gotten injured, I would be like, I don't think Jaylen's completely ready yet. But his trajectory is great. And think about next year. My goodness. Xavier Brown and Mbakwe. And even with the reps that Red Morgan's going to get, those guys are only going to be sophomores. So that secondary, man, those guys are good. To be able to be playing that amount of snaps right now against the quality of competition. I did list Caleb Odom. By the way, he did play in 23 snaps against South Carolina. So he's a freshman that does get a lot of playing time. Other guys that, have played, there's been a lot of freshmen that have played this year. We've seen a little bit of like Justin Okoronkwo, Caden Jones, Zay Mincy's got on the field, Jay Lindsey, tight end, right? Saw a little bit of Kevin Riley. So there's kind of a snapshot of the freshman. Man, but what stands out to me, I guess, here is just 3 of those guys that have played the most snaps within this small graphic are only freshmen. What's up, Ribeye? I appreciate you for being here, man. And I don't know if freshmen are like necessarily carrying this team, but they definitely are a part of this team. And I think it's important to play the best player clearly, but also I'm a big proponent of if there's opportunities and the players are capable enough to play the freshmen because you make them feel more a part of the team. And when you get to the transfer portal picking season, teams aren't going to slide into their DMs. You see what I'm saying? I can't even imagine what's about to happen at the end of the year. That's why it's so important that you just keep winning and keep making everybody feel a part of the team because the transfer portal is going to impact everybody, right? But I appreciate you being here, Ribeye. Ribeye sounds good, man. We had fillets this past Saturday, kind of like a once in a while type thing. I had family in. So what I do on the fillets is I actually butterfly the fillet, marinate it, throw it on the grill. It's been good. So that's kind of a look at the freshman. I mean, it is amazing. I mean, I'm still like this whole Ryan Williams deal, what's going on. It's like I at the beginning of the season, I asked more or less than 500 yards. He's already caught for more than 500 yards. Man. What's up, Show 44? I appreciate you guys being here. Latoya Billingsley, what's going on? Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm reading in the comment box. Big Sexy Elmore. I didn't know him. To be honest, I don't follow other shows or anything like that. I'm kind of just like zoomed into my own thing. But it did come across my feed from Mick's show. I guess his co-host did pass away like a couple days ago from a heart attack. If you know anything about me, that's really close to me for many different reasons. So, thoughts and prayers out to his family. I'm sure that, Mick is going through a really difficult time. So thoughts and prayers out to those guys. Over with their YouTube channel. Those are, I always tell you guys, support the other channels and the ecosystems and, watch all the YouTube channels that you can for the Alabama football season. So, I saw that yesterday. Like I said, I didn't know him, but, thoughts and prayers up to the family. So, yeah, I did see that. This was cool yesterday. So yesterday was, what's up, Sean? I appreciate you being here, man. Yesterday was basketball SEC Media Day. So Nate Oats, he did the interview. I added a small snippet to the YouTube channel. Look, and we are going to cover basketball this year on the YouTube channel. I'm so like into football right now. But like when it heats up, like we'll be covering basketball too. I love basketball. I can heat up a little bit from outside the arc, truth be told. Get me on that corner. I'm good. I really like Nate Oats. He won me over from the jump. I never thought ever, to be honest, that Alabama basketball would be where Alabama basketball is. Like, this is crazy. Like, look at this. Like, Kansas, Alabama, UConn, Houston. Yo, this is real. Like, this is the AP. I'm serious. Like, I just never thought that I would, like, last year's run was crazy. And the thing that I know, Alabama football fans, they, like my friends here in the city, they love basketball. They want the basketball team to be good. They've seen glimpses from time to time of the basketball team be good. There's past greats that have been here, right? But never at this level. Never in the Final Four. And so Nate Oats' comments yesterday, kind of going back to that, is he said that he was asked about the football team and about being ranked higher than the basketball team, or higher than the football team. And he was like, I would imagine, he's like, first of all, he's like, we're 18 national championships behind the football team. He was at the Georgia game with high-profile recruits, really the highest-profile recruits in the country. And I liked it from a coach's aspect. He said, look, we all saw how they played against Georgia and what they're capable of, right? And he said that he doesn't really pay attention to the ratings and the rankings until kind of the playoff team, and he expects Coach Kalen DeBoer and the guys to get on a roll, right? Well, I mean, what else can you say? But I thought it was a good soundbite and a realistic soundbite because I think we're all kind of thinking that in our mind. But this is the crazy thing. The projected started lineup for the basketball team, this is crazy. Mark Sears, all right? Aiden Holloway, right? Coming from Auburn. That's got to sting, right, if you're a Tigers fan. Dude, Wrightsell, man, if he would have been healthy last year, who knows, right? Grant Nelson. This roster is great. I really didn't think Sears would come back, and I definitely didn't think that Nelson would come back, considering how he played against North Carolina. Like, the way he played against North Carolina, that was the Grant Nelson that we expected. The entire season, in my opinion, I never thought that Grant Nelson got into a rhythm, and there for a while, I felt that he was kind of underperforming. I was just like, I was like, I don't really see it. Man, when he came up and he played against North Carolina the way he did, Jarvis, can you add the stats? What did he have against North Carolina? Do points and rebounds. That was wild. And then, you get Clifford Amore coming in from Rutgers. That was the one thing that they didn't have last year was a true center, right? Like, that was they weren't going to beat Purdue or UConn if they got to the title game. They were going to lose, but they played to the highest level. Jarvis has Grant Nelson against North Carolina last year, 24 points and 12 rebounds. There you go. So that's starting. I mean, and you look at all the other players that they have. I mean, man, LeBaron Philon. LeBaron Philon, his highlights in terms of his ball handling skills and his ability as a ball distributor, that highlight tape is phenomenal. If you're playing NCAA basketball 2K or whatever, like his handle's got to be like a 99. So, I mean, everybody's excited about this basketball team. And I know people want a new arena. The problem with the new arena is going to be smaller whenever it's built. So, like right now, Coleman's pretty good sized venue. I don't know if you can still get tickets or whatever. I would imagine it's super, super challenging. But, this basketball team, I can't wait to watch these guys play. They open up with the exhibition game here in a couple days against Wake Forest. They actually lost that game last year. And they have a really good schedule. I mean, you look at the teams that they play, all these games, I'm serious. And the thing about it, it's not boring basketball. Like, it's very up-tempo, a lot of energy, a lot of points. I mean, he runs them. And now with the big man, I'm curious to see how they use, Amari down in the paint, and to see how he can play transition defense. Because I think he is a big man, and he's big enough to get back. Whereas, in the past, they really haven't had that big inside presence. Because Grant Nelson, he's not like an effective inside player. He's a big forward that kind of lives on the outside. Anyways, I'm just excited about the basketball team. I still can't, like, this graphic on the left right here, Kansas, Alabama, UConn, is like, damn. Yo, Nate Oats, man. But, his comments just popped off, yesterday. All right. So the confidence level for this weekend's game, it seems for me to be growing every single day. And I think there's a right to have a little bit of anxiety right now in college football. You kind of get to that point and you start to see how good teams are right now. You look at the SEC standings and you're like, oh, damn, like that's, this is serious. Yeah, it is serious. You lose this game against Tennessee, you're pretty much out of the college football playoffs. Let's call it what it is. Like, I know there's some rule breakers and some tie breakers, but then you start playing like hypotheticals. Well, this team has to beat this team. What team? Like, if you just win out, you're still in a good position. You still have the loss, so we'll see what happens. But you lose this game against Tennessee. Yeah, you. I don't know if you're like it's time to jump ship or whatever, but in terms of making the playoffs, you're not making the playoffs. But I feel really confident that Alabama is able to beat Tennessee. I don't feel that Tennessee has the offense to outscore Alabama. Now, I do feel that, when you look to, there's a graphic that I want to show everybody. When you do look to the way that Tennessee utilizes their offense, the one thing that does concern me is how they use their running back. And I talked about that a little bit before because, as much as we'd like to see the running backs being utilized here at Alabama, Tennessee utilizes this young man by the name of Dylan Sampson. I mean, this, out of all the things that are concerning to me about this game, it's this. Because you look at the fact that Alabama has allowed too many long sustaining drives this year, right? They had the long drive against South Florida, against Wisconsin. I think Georgia had one, and so did Vanderbilt. I can't remember if South Carolina did. South Carolina might have had a really long drive. Well, this team can put together a long the difference is with this team is they don't play time. They're not trying to win the time of possession. They're trying to gas you. They are going heavy tempo with those really wide splits, and then they're just going to run the football up the middle. You know what it's similar to? South Florida. That's a good comparison in terms of the offense. I think South Florida played a little bit more time of possession, but these guys go up tempo and they run right up the middle. Can you imagine if Jaylen Milroe got 27 carries, or Arkansas? Now that's it's a different style of offense. It's just this guy out of all the running backs in the SEC, nobody talks about this guy. He gets fed and he's productive. Look and look how Tennessee has went to him in SEC play. Look at that, 24 carries, 22, 27. You have to stop him. Because when you look to their quarterback, Nico doesn't really, he doesn't worry me. I think what worries me is the fact, like point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is the fact that he's a good runner and a good athlete, but in terms of like overall accuracy, specifically deep ball, he's not that impressive. And not hating on the guy, that's just the truth. But what's also the truth is that last stat is the last 3 quarterbacks that Alabama has faced. Would you call Diego Pavia an elite quarterback? I wouldn't. Would you consider Carson Beck elite? I don't know. He's probably one of the top, he's a first-round draft pick. And Sellers, Lenora Sellers, is he an elite quarterback? No. He's like average. But look what they've done in the last 3 games against Alabama. That's what kind of, I think, scares everybody. Is the last 3 quarterbacks to face Alabama are averaging 309 yards passing and 2 touchdowns per game. It's like, so those are kind of the things that I look at when I look to Tennessee, right? But I think what a win does for Alabama is it would be another win over a top 15 team, which would, and people, if you zoom down to like that 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th point is that people, they understand that Tennessee's a pretty good football team. So beating Tennessee at Neyland Stadium, I think gives this team a ton of momentum back. I haven't even thought of like a score prediction. I'm kind of thinking it's like a 10-point win by Alabama. That's another thing that Max just said that kind of scares me, is the fact that last time they went up to Rocky Top, there was 15 penalties. This team already gets a lot of penalties without helps from the officials. They're averaging 72 yards of penalties per game. So, I mean, that's another thing that is concerning to me. And you look to, like, the jockeying of the SEC. I mean, shoot. Texas A&M up at top. LSU after a win over Ole Miss. Like, this is a crazy league. And as I mentioned yesterday, Auburn and Mississippi State about to be relegated to the Big 12. Would you go to the Big 12 first, or would you go to the ACC? Probably ACC. I don't know. Maybe Big 12. I would love to see relegation added, right? To college football. You would get like the top teams to like join the SEC. Like, where would Miami be in here? It's something fun to think about. I asked people yesterday why they hate, like, how much they hate Tennessee. It was funny to see all this stuff. It's on our community tab on our YouTube channel. All right, this is my daily question. Who wins this game, Texas or UGA? As we get closer to the game and you're reading your college football websites, or you're reading stuff that kind of circulates, how are you guys feeling about this Texas-Georgia game? I said that there's some pretty good or pretty big factors that will factor in if Georgia beats Texas. For Alabama specifically, someone disagreed with me, and they were like, I don't think it'll help Alabama if Georgia wins. And I was thinking about that. I was like, I wonder why they think that. I mean, if Texas wins, this is like, they won their first Super Bowl by beating Alabama. Like, on their road to wherever Texas thinks that they're going, beating Alabama is like, that's probably more important than, a championship that they won in the past. If they blow Georgia out, I think everybody's like, oh, snap. Like, nobody's messing with Texas. I don't know. Going to Austin, that seems like a challenging environment. I mean, everybody remembers a couple years ago when Alabama went down there. If Georgia wins this game, I don't know. I haven't even thought about picking a team right now in this game. But if Georgia wins, I think it's good for Alabama. Specifically, like, when you get down the road and you start looking at the top 12 teams. Because then you could say, well, Georgia beat Texas and Alabama beat Georgia, right? One of those type deals. Texas's remaining opponents are Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Texas A&M. And for Georgia, you have Texas, Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee, UMass, and Georgia Tech. Georgia does have a good secondary. I don't know. Texas, man, they come in and win this game handedly. They'll be like straight up just full-fledged number one. So we'll see what happens in terms of that game this week. I was looking at kind of the college football schedule too. Every single Monday, I release my own just make-believe top 25 or whatever, or top 10 rankings. Here's a look at my rankings. Here's how I have it. So I have Texas, I have Oregon, Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Penn State, Miami, and Clemson. I know Bama haters probably mad inside the comment box that I have Miami at 8. I don't know. Like, those two wins, where they came back and barely beat Virginia Tech and Cal. Those look suspicious to me. But I do like their quarterback. Cam Ward is like, I don't think you can debate it. Like, this guy is absolutely phenomenal, specifically in late game situations. Like, he is absolutely the guy. Texas, clearly, there's really no argument why they shouldn't be number one. They've even had, Arch Manning come in a couple of games where Quinn was dealing with that abdominal strain. Oregon found a way to win against Ohio State. That is an impressive win. I get it. It was up in Eugene, but I watched them. I mean, Dylan Gabriel's good. And look at the quarterbacks, right? Ohio State, they lost. I still have them up there. And when you look to Ohio State and Oregon, their remaining schedules, like, I don't really see those teams losing again, right? Who's going to beat Oregon? Is it going to be Purdue? Is it going to be Illinois, Michigan? I guess Maryland, Wisconsin. I don't know the location of any of these games, but I don't know if they lose, if they slip up. Ohio State, I don't know. I mean, who knows with that Michigan game? I don't know. I don't know if those two teams lose. Bama, I have them 4 because they beat Georgia. This is a super challenging schedule. You got Tennessee, then Missouri, LSU. And the game against Tennessee, LSU, and Oklahoma, those games are all on the road. Hey, C. Price, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. C. Price is saying, look, Kyle, look at the picture of Milroe you just have posted. He has a running back helmet. Get him a QB helmet and peripheral vision isn't an issue. Huh. I never really noticed that. When you look to it, that would be interesting to see if that is, affecting his peripheral vision. Who has I don't want him to wear, the only helmet that I don't want him to wear is the helmet that Aaron Rodgers wears. That helmet is like from Pop Warner, and he has kind of, that old chin strap that we used to have. That's dangerous. And the reason I watch the Jets is because he's one of my fantasy quarterbacks. That helmet is just, that seems like a dangerous helmet to have. I still have Tennessee in my top 10. I know Arkansas, they lost to Arkansas on the road. I don't really know where to put these back end teams. I'm not buying Penn State. I never have. It should say beat USC. They won that game. That was a pretty good comeback victory. Definitely going to Los Angeles. Miami, they were open. They have Louisville, Florida State, Duke, Georgia Tech, Wake, Syracuse. I would imagine that just kind of the drama that Florida State has, that somehow they play Miami like in overtime or some crazy thing. And then Syracuse in the back end, that's a scary team. They're a good football team. I don't know if that's up in whatever they call that dome. What do they call that dome in Syracuse? It's not the Kirby Dome, right? The Kirby Dome was like Idaho's stadium. What do they call Syracuse Stadium? That's going to be a hard game. Who's playing pretty good football right now is Clemson. It seems like they're kind of inspired. And then I have LSU back in the top 10 after beating Ole Miss. I don't know. Maybe I should have put Vanderbilt in there somewhere. Go Carrier Dome. Yeah, thank you. Carrier. Yeah. I would actually like to go check that out. Just to, I've never been to upstate New York. Carrier Dome. Yeah, thank you. See, that's why it's the undefeated. Oh. What's up, Astora? I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Owen Davis, off topic. Army and Navy may face off undefeated. That would be so cool. That would be amazing if they're able to play undefeated. When I used to play, I don't play video games often. Remember when I streamed this season? That was crazy. I haven't played that video game really since I streamed. That was nuts when I streamed because I hadn't even played before, like in years. And I turned on the sticks, and those games were just as exciting as these games that are taking place. Remember Western Carolina? I had to throw a Hail Mary to beat Western Kentucky. Oh man, yo, Byron, look, let me ask you about Clemson. Has everybody like this? Does Clemson seem like they're playing a little bit more inspired football? It kind of does to me. And I never like I'm like, oh, they're in the ACC. I don't know. It seems like they're playing a little bit better football. That's just kind of something that's like on my far out radar. Yo, Bama Mike, I know that helmet that Aaron Rodgers wears is dangerous, man. What? Hattie May saying low key Mercer could be undefeated when they play him. Oh man, that's wild. The only team that was kind of like obscure that came in, like a Mercer, one of those kind of weird teams that came in, was the Citadel. Remember when the Citadel came in here and they were running the triple option? I think the score was like 13-10 at halftime or something like that. The Citadel was like, oh, Mercer. That would be interesting. I mean, this I thought these games would be challenging, like in the back end. I think I have a graphic that shows kind of the back end of Alabama's schedule. Because I was like, when I was thinking about Alabama's schedule, like way far out, it's amazing how fast things go by, right? I mean, the older I get, it's like the faster life goes by. Like, look, we're already in October 19th. North Alabama Storm Chase is saying free Keelan Keeley. I thought this schedule. Okay, let me ask you. Now that we kind of know where the teams are and like, how good I guess some of these teams are, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most challenging of a schedule, right? A back end schedule. What would you say that this back half is for Alabama? Like easy would be 1 and like super challenging would be 10. Yeah, Tennessee, who's ranked. Missouri, who's ranked. Open week. At LSU. Mercer, who I guess could be undefeated. At Oklahoma, who's ranked. Auburn. Josh is like laughing at the Vandy in the top 10. And then Auburn, your rival. See, okay, 8. All right. See, people are saying that it's hard. Jarvis is saying 7. I think I'm going to go 7. Timothy's saying 7. Okay, but it, like 7 to 8. Looks like the average might be just like 7.7 or something like that. It's hard. I don't think there is even, there's no shortcut. This is, while I'm feeling confident about Tennessee, I think what scares me, like when I zoom out and look at this schedule, is the fact that the games are on the road. Like Tennessee on the road. I don't like that. And you know what? I don't like where this Missouri game is at, because what I'm scared about is if you do beat Tennessee, right? I think that'll be an emotional game. The cigars, the celebration. And let's face it, there's like a little bit of worry within the fan base that they don't feel that this team is that good, and the world thinks that Alabama football is vulnerable, whatever, right? Like, so you beat Tennessee, a top 15 team on the road, your biggest rivalry. There's a lot of emotion in this game, period. Like, there just is. And this Missouri team, then you feel like you're kind of back on track. And whatever happens with Texas and Georgia, you might move up in the rankings, right? You start kind of like pumping on your chest, or like the rat poison again. And then this Missouri game is homecoming too. That you're going from an emotional game into homecoming. You see what I'm saying? Like, those are these rat traps across the entire football slate. What I do like about this back end schedule is you have this open week right before LSU. So an emotional game, homecoming, you're open, you can heal up, guys who have nicks or cuts or whatever. LSU will be hard. That will be challenging. I don't care. Like Brian Kelly, I know we laugh about it. That's going to be a hard game. What has Aaron Anderson been doing, by the way? I saw him catch a touchdown early in the season. I haven't had an opportunity to watch too much LSU football. I will start as we kind of get closer to that game, but I really haven't seen Aaron Anderson. I like that guy's game. He's good. Big Bid said that they've been finding their group. Yeah, that game, man, that's probably like, Tennessee is cool to see kind of like all their atmosphere and stuff like that, like the college football pageantry. But I think that LSU is like my favorite place to see an away game, just because it's crazy. Like that stadium's gigantic. It's like it's different. It's at night. I don't know. I think Nussmeier's a good quarterback too. I think that game's gonna be hard. Bama Reds talking about Anderson. Yeah, Anderson is nice. And then, you like where the Mercer game is. Usually this is the other part of the back end schedule. So, kind of worried about that Missouri game just because coming off an emotional game, then into homecoming, like where LSU is, like, Mercer is Mercer, whatever. Then you go to Oklahoma. You don't know what the weather could be. Anyone been up to the Plains in November? That game will be freezing. I don't know what time. Oh, what is it? So it looks like a flex game. So it could be at probably 6 o'clock. That game should be, I would imagine it's cold. You're supposed to beat Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? Next game is Auburn. This is a hard schedule. And then these guys from Auburn, we know, we've seen this. Usually, and this is what's interesting, is this game against Oklahoma will be tough just because it's Oklahoma. I know Texas beat them 34-3, so whatever. I haven't heard an update on K-Law yet, but I will bring it as soon as if we do get one. The Oklahoma game will be tough, and then you come right back and you play these guys from Auburn. The thing about Auburn, it will be their super. No matter what, I don't have to tell you. No matter what in the world is happening, these guys can beat Alabama football and like save their coach's season, save their season, and win in recruiting. They'll be like, look, we can still beat Alabama. Because they are still getting recruits. So the more that I look at it, this schedule sucks. It's gonna be fun to cover, but damn, there's rat traps and rivalries and all sorts of weird stuff. Tough turnaround times, homecoming, Mercer, Auburn, Death Valley. Yo, there's a lot of stuff. This is like the season now. So, if I get any updates today, I'll bring those to you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for joining me on the show. I always appreciate talking to you guys. Feel really good today. There's always a lot of gratitude that I like to display on the show. I'm grateful for a lot of things. Prayers up to Big Elmo. I never met the guy. I never, watched any of their content, but, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that were affected by his passing. So, thoughts and prayers. And to anybody else, honestly, that might be going through something, even unspoken, thoughts and prayers. $48 is saying relax, Kyle. Yeah, that's you always got to relax, right? I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Every single show is handcrafted, put together. I put all the graphics together and, try my best every single time that I step on to give you, the best of my ability on this channel. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys for being here. I hope you have a really good rest of your day. Stay close to, people that are in your corner. And I hope to see you as news happens. So me, like, as news happens, I got you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Oh, we got our the Facebook channel is really active too. Alabama Crimson Tide on YouTube. We got like 30,000 followers. So hit us up there. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.